Start webinar recording.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Monmouth Scores webinar. We're pleased to have Patty Ross with us again today. She's from Golden State Marketing, and she's going to be speaking about LinkedIn today. For those of you who don't know about SCORE, we are the nation's largest all-volunteer mentoring organization, and we're here to help you either start or grow your business. And it's always free, and it is part of what SCORE does. We have chapters all around the country. We happen to be based in the Monmouth County, New Jersey area, but we help clients from our area and now virtually all over the country. And we're really pleased that Patty is going to be, I call it a residency. You know, you might have heard of Billy Joel having a residency at the Garden. Well, we're lucky enough that Patty has agreed to do a once-a-month webinar. And for those of you who've seen hers, probably are back again to see another one because she has a great portfolio of different, really hands-on ways to get things done. And today, Patty's going to be talking about LinkedIn. And interestingly enough, you know, many people aren't really utilizing LinkedIn. And when I looked at Patty's LinkedIn today, you want to know a little bit about someone. Before you know them, you often check them out. It could be Google, it could be LinkedIn, different ways. So looking at Patty's LinkedIn, it had said, taking away the marketing overwhelm for business owners with do-it-yourself and done-for-you options and marketing training, which is exactly what Patty does. So with her own introduction, I want to introduce Patty to you and take it away, Patty.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Bill, and welcome everyone. I know some people are still streaming in the room here, but I'll go ahead and start. Just a little bit of housekeeping, and I'm going to start my slides here as I talk. I forgot, we need to have slides for this. Could make it more interesting here without it. 1 second. There we go. And it's working. Yay. All right. Everybody seen LinkedIn Essentials? Let me raise their hand. Yes. Everything good? All right, perfect. So yes, welcome to LinkedIn Marketing Essentials. This is a quick housekeeping. We're recording. You will get the recording, the slides, the calendar, everything I'll talk about. You'll get the follow-up from the SCORE chapter sometime after the class. So don't worry if you miss something on a slide or I go too fast. You don't have to sit and take pictures of all the slides. Just sit back and listen. So we are doing that. And then we do have, this is a webinar format, so we do have both a Q&A and a chat. So go ahead and put questions in Q&A and then just comments in chat. This way I can distinguish if there's questions or just comments. So we have both of those options there. So a lot of you have met me, at least virtually on these webinars, but just a little bit about me. I've been, as you can see here, I've been on the online space for a million years, right? 1998, I helped in traditional catalog and retail gourmet gift basket company, created their e-commerce part of their business and turned it into a multi-million-dollar part of their business, even way back then. I do work in all types of industries with clients. So I've worked in the wine industry. This is year 19 that I've been in it, but I do have clients in all of these different types, whether it's B2B, B2C, a little bit of everything here. I do teach, like I said, I'm in residency here with Monmouth, but I do teach for multiple SCORE chapters across the country. So you might have seen me pop up in Texas or California or Seattle or Charlotte, North Carolina, all over the place, as well as SCORE National. So that is me. And now I'm going to have you tell me about you. So everybody gets to share today. So I want to know if you could put in the chat, not in the Q&A, but in the chat, tell me what your business does, what type of business you have, who do you help, who's your ideal client, and then are you B2B, so business to business or business to consumer, or maybe even your B2G, keep forgetting to put that on the screen, business to government, or all three or both, and then where are you located, where are you dialing in from today? So if you're not in New Jersey, that's okay, but put it all in one chat message and I'll kind of maybe pull some out of the chat to use as examples during my class. So, and of course, since we are in LinkedIn class and it's all about networking, make sure you share, you're in a room right now with, let's see, we're at 79 people. So potentially at least 79 business owners that you might want to do business with or collaborate with. So Share your whatever LinkedIn, your profile, your pages, your email, your website, whatever you want to share. But that's the purpose of networking, right? It's telling people who you are. You'll get mine. I know you can't click on the slide here and click on mine, but you're welcome to connect with me. That'll be shared with the assets that you'll get later. So you'll be able to go and check out my page, go stalk my profile if you want, and connect as well. So it looks like we have a lot. Just before I start, I'll just see who's in the room real quick. I kind of feel like the old romper room. You know, I see Joe, I see Patty. Let's see, we have consulting, small business owners, the first one, help business owners and real estate investors. All right. Virtual sales and services, electrical contractors, education, right? All right. Marketing consultant, educational services, immigration law. Perfect. Okay, so keep on sharing. So if you just came in the room, just share in the chat who you are, what type of business you have, I should say, who you serve, if you're business to consumer or business to business or both, and where you're located. Okay. And the world of marketing, a lot of you have seen this slide. I share it with all my classes. But you know, where do you go, right, in the world of marketing? Obviously, today we're talking about social media, specifically LinkedIn. We've had websites around for multiple decades now. Social media, about LinkedIn's year 20, believe it or not. It feels like it was just yesterday. Email marketing, you know, on the digital side, text and Wi-Fi marketing, a little bit newer on the scene compared to the other ones. And then, you know, your traditional, right? TV, radio, billboards, print ads, promotional products, networking I have up there, right? Because networking is part of marketing your business, which I just asked you to do in the room if you so desire. So make sure you share in the room so the other attendees can, you know, network with you, right? So thank you, everybody's sharing that information. So where do you go, right? Where do you spend your time and money and efforts for your business? And it's going to be a little bit different for everybody, of course, right? Of course, today we're talking about LinkedIn in particular, but I always say before you go any further, know exactly where you need to go, right? Just like if you're going to hop on the train or the bus or whatever you have in your town to go downtown, for example, you know, you have to kind of know which bus or train you're going to need to take, right? You just don't hop on any of them and hope you get to your destination. You might wind up wasting a lot of your day if you take the wrong train or bus. So we don't want to do that on the train or bus or with your marketing plan. So as Ben Franklin said, if you fail to plan, you're already planning to fail. We don't want to do that. We don't want this marketing plan kind of throw spaghetti on the wall to see what sticks. That's not a good plan. We don't want this plan either. We call it spray and pray in marketing, right? You just kind of fling the arrows or shoot the bullets at the bullseye and pray that you get that bullseye. But all of these holes are your time and money, right? And I don't like wasting either one of those. So we don't want to do that plan either, right? We want to actually have a plan in place. All right, so why do you need to have a marketing plan? And we'll talk about LinkedIn in a second, but I always share this because if you don't have a plan in place, again, you're already going to fail, as Franklin said, but you don't want to waste any of those things. So definitely number one, I said, maximizes your budget and return on investment. It just creates consistency. You'll hear that in marketing. It's about telling people what you do over and over and over again, right? But you want to tell the right people at the right place at the right time. And then encourages deeper thought about your business and marketing. So, you know, things change in the world, right? The economy changes, the climate changes, supply chain, you know, everything can potentially affect your business. People's changing attitude about your product or service, technology changes, right? A pandemic changed everything. So really looking deeper, look back, you know, on occasion, look back, what's going on? Do I need to shift anything, change anything, right? Change what I do altogether in my business. So always helps just to kind of look back what's going on. Unifies your team. So if you have staff, good idea to, you know, have everybody on the same page with your business and your marketing, right? And then just improves your chances of actually accomplishing your marketing goals if you write them down. So always important to have that. This is from my Marketing Plan 101 class. We're not going to deep dive into this today, but I always share it because again, before you go into the channels, number 5, which today is channels, LinkedIn, always make sure that you back up and look at steps 1 through 4, however you do it. You know, make sure you're setting goals. What do you need to accomplish with your marketing? Number 2, most important, is who your customers really are, right? Sometimes you don't have that dialed down, right? And then you're just going to be spaghettiing and spraying and praying. That's a new verb, spaghettiing, right? We don't want to do that. It's very vitally important, because if you don't have the right audience tuned in, you're all the rest of this doesn't matter. So make sure that is completely dialed in who your customer is, and then you'll know where they hang out. You know, should you be on Instagram or should you be on LinkedIn, for example, or both potentially? And then just doing those SWOT analysis, what's going on in your business again, what are competitors doing? Do you have a unique selling proposition that makes sense to your ideal clients, that speaks to them? What does your branding look like? Your story, your visuals, what is that saying about you to your ideal customer? Having that plan in place, right? Who's going to do it? How? What tools do you need? Budgets, etc. And then just knowing how to look under the hood to see if all of this is actually working. Are you accomplishing anything? Or is this just a hobby, right? Hopefully not. We have all probably here because we want to make some money, right? So we want to make sure all this is dialed in. So I highly recommend, at some point, I'm sure I probably already taught it for Monmouth, but it's always on my calendar. But always important class to look back at and evaluate before you go into number 5. So that's as deep as we'll go into my marketing plan class today. Now we'll talk about LinkedIn, which is why we're here, right? So let's just get a few little stats, right? There's 900 million members in 200 countries worldwide, 200 million, as you can see here in the United States, but some of you might be global. You can see how many different countries are active on LinkedIn. And there we go. And then by age, and I'm just going to give a caveat on here after we look at the age group. So you can see it's pretty heavy. So if we look at the generationally, so right now, if I can remember the numbers this year, Zillennials, Gen Zs, 18 to 20, I think it was 18 to 28. Millennials are the 29 to 42 this year. And then 43 to, I think something is Gen X, 58. 59 baby boomers to 60, I think it's 65, and I have the numbers remembered, and then above that 66 or 67, I think, and then above that's that golden generation. So you can see here, if you're now, LinkedIn's a little bit different, I should say, with this particular market compared to consumer, Instagram, Facebook, etc. Age doesn't necessarily matter when it comes to LinkedIn. Right. And I'll give the perfect example as one of my clients. So she's transportation logistics, CEO of the company. She founded it, okay, in a typical man's world. So, but she's upset now because she just turned 35. Right. So CEO of a multi-million-dollar company, transportation logistics. She has 70 plus employees. Does it really matter if you're trying to reach a CEO of a T&L company and want to do business with her in some way? Does it matter that she's 35 or 55 or 25, whatever that number is? So you're looking at position, right? Who is that person that could help, that you might want to do business with? Not in what type of company, what type of position are they in? A CEO of a company, or are you looking for the manager? It doesn't necessarily matter, but it's good kind of to know what the age range. Obviously, that kind of, just as those millennials are getting into their careers and starting businesses, right? And then obviously as the higher numbers go, they're retiring out of their jobs or selling their businesses. But again, you don't necessarily look at, if I'm looking for a CEO of a company that whatever sells widgets and they're 27 years old, I'll do business with them, right? So something to think about with the ages, but I always want to share that. So what's going on LinkedIn, right? It says almost 59 million companies are listed on LinkedIn, right? 4 out of 5 people on LinkedIn are decision drivers, right? That's important because sometimes, the way you do business and what your product or service is might have to go to a middle manager or middle person that has multiple layers of decision makers. So if you can get right to the decision driver here, right, it's going to be a shorter selling cycle, right? B2B tends to be a longer selling cycle because you might have multiple people, you're building relationships, they're getting to know you and your expertise, not as easy as a quick impulse consumer purchase, right? And so it says 45% of buyers are more interested in salespeople who reach out to them via LinkedIn. Everybody thinks, no one wants to hear from you. but if it's targeted to them, that, makes sense. And according to 40% of B2B marketers polled, LinkedIn is the most powerful channel for generating high quality leads, right? So 65 million decision makers on LinkedIn, right? So quite a few, and that's overall, obviously in the world globally, I should say. I'll read just a few of these highlighted ones. You'll get these slides to read the rest, but again, it says 70% of content marketers think LinkedIn delivers the highest organic results for them. 60% of LinkedIn users actively seek industry insights. So they come here for that. They're not coming here to see what you ate for lunch or how cute your dog is, right? Or what you did on your family vacation. They're coming here to look for industry insights, talk to people in the industry, obviously network, look for jobs, right? And then businesses that post weekly on LinkedIn see a 2 times growth in engagement. I'll talk about the LinkedIn algorithm and how it's different than the other algorithms out there, Instagram, Facebook. They're all a little bit different. And then LinkedIn is responsible for 50% of the social media traffic that B2B, business to business blogs and websites receive. Again, because they're looking for industry insights. And if they can go to blogs, this is where they're going to generally go first, right, for that. So why is networking important, right? As I already mentioned in the room, and some of you may have come into the room after I said this, but we're sharing in the chat, who you are and what you do. We're also, I said network, right? We're here to talk about networking. So, and you're in a room now with 107 business owners. Share your LinkedIn information, share whatever information you want to share in chat. Because again, you might want to do business with folks, collaborate. I've seen networking going on in the chat and people connecting with each other. That's part of marketing your business, right? Getting out there. So whether it's in person or online, don't be afraid to network. That's why we're here. And I think Bill kind of alluded to this, that in the introduction about, people are kind of afraid to use LinkedIn. It's kind of a weird phenomenon. Why? And raise your hand if this is you. I'll raise my hand too, right? We go on LinkedIn. Somebody might accept ask to connect, or we might connect. Send an invitation ourselves, and then the person connects with us, and then we don't do anything. Is that anybody here? Raise your hand. It's okay. No shame. No judgment zone. Right? We're like, oh, okay. What do we do? Right? I don't want to bug them. Right? Even though you asked to connect, or they asked to connect, right? We're like, oh, I don't know. It's okay. Everybody's saying that's me. That's me. It's we all have this kind of fear as business owners, right? Example. Right? Somebody here must have a storefront, right? Somebody here have a storefront. Put a storefront. Let's say you're selling, a bakery. Let's just say a bakery. Put out your beautiful donuts and croissants and bread and all that, and you expect people to come in and purchase the products. No fear, right? You start a business, you put out your products. No fear of people coming in and doing sales with you, right? It's kind of expected. But when it comes to something like LinkedIn, or even in person, it's like there's this fear of like, oh, I don't want to bug them for a sale. But that's why we're here, right? This is the one network where you can say bug them for a sale. Do it strategically, of course. Again, we don't want to spray and pray and hit everybody on LinkedIn. Let's just try to connect with everybody. There is a way you can kind of do that in a sense. I'll show that. But you want to make sure, spend that time, whether it's in person or online, making those connections. Do strategic connections, right? We can't spend, here in Los Angeles, there's a million groups. I could go to networking and mixers like every day, all day. Would not be productive, of course. You have to strategically look at the networking, but don't be afraid to connect on LinkedIn. That's why you're here, right? So I'm gonna make sure you do that. Even in the room, right? We're here. So why do you network, right? Of course, to find new clients, maybe find new hires. Maybe you're looking for new staff, get new opportunities, learn from again, we're here to get some expertise and industry insights. Maybe you're looking for people like you who do what you do, right? Looking for your own tribe of people. I might go on there. I want to talk to the marketing people and find out what they're doing, right? So good place to do that. There's plenty of groups for different industries, for different things to sell, different services. So tons of groups on LinkedIn to look at. right? And they won't come knocking at your door, right? We just kind of put up our little sign if we have a storefront, and then, expect people to show up, or say, hey, now I'm a marketing person. Hey, come find me, right? That would be nice, but I have to do some work to get out there and it's brand awareness, telling people who you are. So kind of no brainer. So with your LinkedIn, so I want to explain this. LinkedIn works a little bit like Facebook. Okay. Different reasons you use them, but they work the same, right? You start off with a profile, right? Your personal, Facebook, say your personal profile. LinkedIn is your personal professional profile, right? We start off with a profile for your business. You can also create a business page, just like you do with Facebook. Your personal profile, whether on LinkedIn or Facebook, manages that page. Somebody has to manage it, right? You can't just start a page off separately on Facebook or LinkedIn. You can have other people come in and be the admin, but generally you start with the profile. That's all your personal information, personal professional information, of course. And then you start the page under your profile. And again, I can invite, somebody to administer my page if I want to, but I'm the main page owner. So I just want to distinguish that when we're talking about pages versus profiles. That gets confusing sometimes I see people like, I don't want my page to manage or my profile to manage the page. I'm like, well, you have to. Okay. So that's how it works. So we all start with profiles. And anybody here not have a LinkedIn profile at this time? Haven't started one yet? Raise your hand, say yes in chat. It's okay. So everybody here at least has one. So a lot of us maybe have started them when they were looking for jobs before you owned a business, right? And they might be more targeted to job seeking, right? So we have somebody here that's on LinkedIn. So after the class is over, whoever says not on LinkedIn or not up to date, hopefully you will by the end of the class have one. So, right, you start with your LinkedIn, you put in your picture and all of your jobs that you had or businesses that you've been in and involved in. Fill it out. Fill it all out. Take time to fill it out, right? Make sure you have a good headshot, right? I'm looking at these pictures. The top two, Katrina and Henri, look, nice shot. Don't do selfies. Don't have one with your dog next to you or your partner, your kids. Have a nice, clean, professional business headshot. The one, Rivka, a little too close up, I think, a little too, I would have some boundary or framing around the photo, but nice, clean, up to date, because if you meet people in person or even on Zoom, you want it to kind of look like, oh, okay, I recognize you, or, oh, I don't know, it was last time looked like, you had blonde hair, and now you have red hair. So make sure it is up to date on there. Fill out have your LinkedIn banner up top here, and I'll show you some examples of what you can do with that. Those are easy to create on Canva if you're using Canva. So you want to make sure you have your profile filled out, and make sure you SEO optimize your profile. So in your about section, you can put in keywords relevant to your business. Look up your name, Google your name. Usually LinkedIn, if you're out there professionally, your business, and you've had enough information, LinkedIn should show up pretty high in the terms, in the organic results. So you want to make sure that if somebody's typing in maybe digital marketing, promotional products like I have in mind, then I potentially come up higher in SEO, depending on all the other factors that they have with SEO. But you want to make sure you do have keywords in there as to what you do as well. So, oops, there we go. So when we're filling out the profile, and I think Bill read my little profile headline, right? You can use it in different ways. That's the headline that's right under your name, right? So these examples here, Mr. Patel used it they're hiring people. So he's a co-founder of Mailshake. We're hiring sales reps and back-end devs, right? Morgan DeBon, she, what does your company do? So she could have put CEO and founder of Blavity. We're like, okay, what is that? I don't know. But she put the largest digital millennial news and media company for African Americans in the US. Everybody might not. I don't think she is. She's a connection of mine. I think she's doing something different now. But again, she's a bit more specific on there. Here's Lisa. She's a PR disruptor, social PR agency, CEO, founder. right? So she's using it for her business. She's promoting her book in her headline photo there, right? Max is founding partner, GrowthX, help companies, startups, and countries commercialize innovation and get products to market. So telling you what you do more specifically. So that might be somebody like, oh, okay, that might be my business. Okay. A few others here. Let's see, founders and foundation recruiters at Airbnb, career matchmaker, unicorn hunter. Be kind of clever in that. I like this one with Darth Vader. I don't usually stalk profiles, but when I do, I usually have a career opportunity for you. Want to connect. We don't want to put, you'll see this, usually not business owners doing this. Somebody's looking for a job, they'll say, seeking new opportunity. Bad thing to do, because recruiters will search and you put search words. So if I put looking for new opportunity, but I'm looking for marketing opportunities, I should put marketing keywords in that headline as opposed to looking for an opportunity. So you can see here a couple different ways to use it. You can be clever, but you don't want to be so clever that nobody understands what you're doing. So different ways that you can always change it up. Maybe when they're not looking for back-end devs, you can change it to something different. But you can see here how it's being used in different ways. All right. So when you're setting up your page, right, I just explained, right, you start with your profile and then you set up a page. And it's pretty easy to do, right? So I'll go through most of the steps on there if you're not familiar with a page, right? So you create the page, posting, we'll talk about posting content, add LinkedIn groups to your page, tagging people and hashtags. So I'll just go through each of those steps. So to create a page, if you haven't already, and sorry, of course, the landscaper down below is hedging the grass there. So hopefully it's not too loud right under my window here. So you go under that little work tab at the top, that with the 9 little dots there. And at the very bottom, you'll see create a company page. Okay. And then you're going to go in, I think it might be a little bit different now, but they're going to ask you what type, if you're a business, a showcase, educational page. And then I'm not showing the rest because it's super easy. You're just filling out all of your information about your business and all that, and you create the page, right? And then as far as connect, I don't know if I have another slide on that. That's pretty easy. So you set up that page. You're going to want to put a profile or a business headline graphic on there as well. I'll show some slides on that. But as far as connections, right, we have different levels of connections. People seeing your first connection, second and third. So basically your first connections are people you're connected to, directly connected to, right? Second level, people your connections are connected to, might be people you also want to connect to, right? And then third level connections are the people that the second level are connected to. So the very first group, you're already connected. You might want to look at people who are, again, connections of your connections, because they might do the same thing. You might want to reach out to them, right? So those are different types of connections. Now I want to explain the LinkedIn algorithm. So, and this comes to when posting, why it's important to post on a regular basis. And somebody asked here, Yvette, should you have a separate business and personal page or is combined? So going back to what I said, everybody starts with a personal profile. Okay, so your profile with all of your business information, previous jobs, volunteer work, skills, all that, all those things you kind of fill out under your profile. Then you have a business page, and that's managed by your personal profile, right? So you don't have a business page and a personal page, right? Personal profile and a business page, okay? And just real quick before I talk about the algorithm, you cannot have more than one profile under your name. LinkedIn does not allow it. You can have multiple business pages, and they're managed by one profile, but I can't set up 2 Patty Ross profiles. I know this comes up a lot. Somebody's like, well, I have this side business, but I have a job and I don't want to combine them. I don't want my boss to know I'm doing this side business or starting this business. Or I don't want these people to know that I'm doing this other type of business. Unfortunately, you have to pick a lane with it. So you can create one, unless you totally go under a totally different bogus name, which you shouldn't really do. But under your name and information, have only one profile. But again, you can have multiple business pages. Okay. And yes, you can, someone asks, can you disconnect from someone you were once connected? Yeah, you can unconnect, disconnect, unlink. Yeah, however you want to say it. But just like you can unfriend people on Facebook or unfollow people on Twitter or Instagram, you can unconnect and disconnect, we'll say. So the LinkedIn algorithm, this when it comes to posting, right? Very important to understand how it works compared to the others. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Well, maybe Twitter's different now. But they're more machine algorithm, right? It's all just posting when you post, how often you post, who you're connected with, all that, etc. LinkedIn actually has human intervention as well as machine algorithm, because they want to ensure that all of the content is relevant to business, right? If they just let anybody post anything, we would start seeing like people putting up their dog videos and having political discussions and all the stuff that happens on the other channels that are fine over there. We don't need to know what you ate for dinner, on LinkedIn, unless it has something to do with your business. And then maybe, or your cute dog video has something to do, somebody here I think is a dog trainer, then that's appropriate, right, to talk about that. But in this case, they want to make sure, and also good quality content. So when you're posting up, right, and putting posts on, you want to kind of remember how this algorithm works. So when you first post something up, it follows this little schematic here, right? And they call what the golden hour, I think it's 2 hours now, but it's called the golden hour. The first hour that your content is up, they start looking at like, are people interested in it? So at first, is it good content? But if they feel it's a good quality content, they'll clear it. They'll start letting it be displayed. They'll look at likes, views, hides or flags even, and then see like, did somebody that you tagged on the post actually respond back within that time? And then they'll keep showing it, or they might show it less as people are interested. So don't post something at midnight when nobody's on, or not a lot of people are on, and might not get a lot of action going on that first hour. And then they'll kind of keep showing it. If they don't say it's good quality content, they might not show it at all. They might show it less, just kind of monitor it. So it's a little interesting how it works in comparison to the other ones that are completely machine. I kind of joked about thinking in my head about Twitter, because I think the current owner of the company might be doing some human algorithm intervention with that, deciding what you can have and not have on the platforms. But in this case, right, a little bit of human intervention, seeing what's going on with the content. So it follows a little bit different path than it does on the other ones. So some examples of how this is working. So here's a terrible post example. Right, it just says make money super quick, DM for details, not a scam. Probably is, right? So it goes through the content quality scoring. They go, it doesn't look too good. Let's kind of put it over here to the right. So they might not show it, might filter the content in some way, and it doesn't go through the good side, right? Down the good chute, right? So slightly better, says my company fresher than you is the best company in the market, in the world even. Really great stuff. Amazing, right? Okay, well, we'll kind of show it. We'll see what's going on. We'll continue to display it. We'll monitor those likes and hides and all that and see what's going on and decide to keep showing it or not. Okay, maybe they'll demote it if it looks suspicious. But again, it's kind of being monitored. I don't think they have LinkedIn employees who are sitting there looking at every single post like that, but they kind of give it that, however they do their complete algorithm, they're kind of watching these. And then a good post, I won't read the whole thing. It's obviously the post is giving more information, industry insights, perhaps, maybe it's asking questions. Those are always good to elicit comments, right, on it, is to ask questions. A lot of people are doing surveys. If you hang out on LinkedIn, a lot of people will do, or little polls, I should say, and then you can get comments and information from that, right? So again, goes through that quality content scoring, looking good. It looks like people are engaging with it, maybe answering the questions on that, and it stays in that loop. It doesn't even go on to the bad side of the loop. Right there. So it works a little different. So it's important to post on a regular basis, just like you do. If B2B is your jam, if LinkedIn is where you will find your clients, this is where you should be spending your time. Not worrying about, your Instagram page and what that looks like. Maybe, but some of you may be more specific industries than that would not, do well on Facebook and Instagram. Let's see. So Jacqueline said, I've seen dog and children videos. Has this changed and you can't post them now? It depends. I mean, it depends on who you follow maybe or connected with. I rarely see that on Facebook or on LinkedIn. So I think everything I see is all business related. So I'm kind of surprised to hear that there is. So I just use those as examples. Again, if it's appropriate, I wouldn't post it on there because it's not appropriate to the channel, right? It's not what we come to LinkedIn. We're looking for industry insights. Again, if your business has something to do with children or dogs or pets or whatever, as two examples, but not like putting a picture of what you ate for dinner, like we would on Instagram. We Instagram all of our food. I was out to dinner with 3 or 4 friends and colleagues, all who are in different types of businesses. And like every time something came out on the table, they're taking a picture of our food and putting it up. I'm like, never thought of doing that years ago, right? But again, yeah, so really it would be odd to see that on there. I think, at least I haven't seen that, but it really isn't appropriate to put it on there. Just because you see it, I wouldn't recommend putting it on there. If your post has something to do with world issues or leadership issues, yeah, we're on there to potentially gain clients, get those industry insights, maybe connect with colleagues. I learned about like what events are going on, business events, who's been to what events, who won an award, maybe, so you can, congratulate them on that. All right. So really trying to focus in on business insights, not doing that kind of that more personal stuff, unless it does directly relate to your business in some way. And you can tie it back to that, right? So what should you post, right? So we're just talking about be relevant, right? Post with images, get twice as many comments as text. Videos get 5 times the engagement. Okay. You can promote your posts out there, increase engagement if you post it. Tagging relevant companies and other members and other connections on there, because they might connect and then or see it and then respond to it, and then their connections can see that, right? Using those keywords and relevant hashtags as well. Get original content does better than if you just share posts. Not that you shouldn't share posts, because that's good. People want you to share their content. I wouldn't mind if you share mine, but make sure you're not just doing that. That's great to do. That means you're paying attention and you're actually hanging out. I always scroll through my posts, my feed at least once a day. I'll look through there, see what's going on, and I'll comment and share and like and engage, maybe answer some polls that are interesting. Sometimes I just want to see what's going on out there, whether it's in my industry or other industries that my clients are in as well. I have a couple of B2B clients. All right. So don't beg for empty engagement. This is the same with Facebook. Facebook doesn't like it either. So empty engagement would be you're using likes and reactions and comments just to get people to engage, right? The more you engage, like even with Facebook, the more reach you get. So liking, comment, sharing, whatever that is. So you're using it like to, like if you using like a poll, for example, instead of using a poll, using it, use the heart or the thumbs up, for this answer or that answer, right? That's fake engagement. We don't want to do that. Empty engagement. We want to use it for its main purpose. You can say, hey, you ask a question, a legitimate question. I think I put up a post and I reposted something about artificial intelligence and something's particular. This was a month or so ago. And I said, hey, what do you think about this article? That's perfectly okay, to ask people to respond. Like, what do you think about it? And of course, they're going to put a comment in there as well, but don't do that empty. Don't use the reactions for voting. Hit like if what do you, if you like this picture, hit like, something like that. That would be more empty engagement. You do want to encourage engagement, of course, and definitely starting that conversation with a question, right? Legitimate question about what the post is about, to get people to respond. And again, sir, the polls are very popular. I see them pop up, and I think you can have them set for a few days or a week. And then usually I would respond, see what the answers. I did one asking people, like, do they do their own marketing? Do they have somebody internally or externally, or what marketing, right? Just to see like who's doing their own marketing, and then follow up with it as well. Engage with the survey, right? You want to use hashtags just like you do with your other platforms. Might be a little bit different hashtags you're using, but you do use them on there. They can relevant to your industry, maybe who you're trying to market to, and then what the post is about potentially. So here we have TikTok marketing. This is social media insider. So it's kind of a marketing insiders kind of newsletter and website about everything going on in social media. So this is about TikTok marketing. It's targeting social media managers, right? And it's about marketing, right? Obviously. So Facebook ad tips, ad strategy, Facebook marketing. So it's relevant to what the post is about. So again, you kind of use a little bit more targeted with keywords on here. You don't have to do like 30 of them on here like you would maybe on Instagram. All right. So let's go back and look at some of these questions. Before we go on, I just want to look and see what questions are on there. How long should a post be? What about an article? So Claire, good question. Just going back about the content. Not too, they can be a little bit longer, but I would say if you have a blog article, I do this for a client. If we have a blog, I will put the first paragraph perhaps, or a synopsis of the first paragraph, and then go read the rest of the blog and click to the blog. So we want to drive traffic to the website. So you could have them a little longer because again, if something of interest to read, you don't want to have them like, 8 paragraph long post, but enough of a, short. Think we all have a lot going on. We have short attention spans, a lot of distractions. So you don't want to have too long of a post. But again, if you have more content, drive them to your website with the extra content. Right. When I create a post or upload an article, who sees it? Only my connections. Connections of connections may see it as well. So, but generally your first connections are going to be the one that see it. And potentially just depends on how it flows through that algorithm that's going on. But generally your connections are going to see it. And a good point when it comes to business pages versus your profile, I always post on both. A lot of us have brand new pages. And we might only have a few of our, and it, again, works the same way as Facebook, right? You start with your profile, your Facebook profile or LinkedIn profile, and you have all your friends or connections. And a lot of us have hundreds or thousands of connections or friends. But when we set up our page, we're starting from scratch, right? Our friends or connections don't automatically see what you post on your page. You have to invite them in on both of those. So with LinkedIn, once you set up your page, you have to invite your connections. You can't just invite random people in there unless you're advertising your LinkedIn business page. But you can't go on LinkedIn and just randomly pull people up and have them invite them in. It has to be your connections. So you do have to spend that time. I have a client that she has. They've been around for a long time. I think she has like 10,000 connections, and she's going, all day. She's retired, semi-retired, just still running her business. And she's just going in and going to her connections and inviting them to follow their page, which they hadn't been actively using at that time. So slowly it's growing. So I always post on both my profile and my page. So they might see it on your profile. Now, obviously those people are both right now. So some might see it through my business page and interact that way on their feed, or they might just see it on their feed from my profile. So I do both since I'm still building my page following on there. Make sure you're using your LinkedIn page. Like you can put it on your emails, you can put it in your signature on your emails, advertise that. Most of us advertise our profile. Right. So if you do have a business page and you want to just drive people to your page, use that link instead. Right. So hopefully that makes sense. I'll answer a few more questions here just to make sure we're in here. If you have a business premium page where more people see our posts, good question. I don't think that paying will get you to see more people. You still have to connect. LinkedIn is they're how do I want to say this? I'll say they're traditional, but LinkedIn sees LinkedIn as the same way that you would build personal connections. Like you and I would meet at a mixer and walk up to each other and introduce ourselves, maybe hand each other a card, really make that personal connection. So they're all about making the personal connection to network, right? So not about, let's just have everybody see it. They want to make sure that, you both are agreeing to connect and want to share information. So important thing to remember, is you want to make those connections one-on-one. There are ways. I'm going to show you how to automate that process with third-party tools. But again, they're looking at it as for you to make those connections and then to share information with those connections. Sorry, I went backwards. So hopefully that answers that question, but I don't believe it does. I'll find out. We'll let you know about that. Let's see. Let me go back on here. Let's see. What is your recommendation on consistently promoting your product service with a strong call to action? Should it be done on this platform or is it a turnoff? No, it can be done, right? You don't want to just promote your product or service, just like on the other platforms. Should be only like, 1 out of 9 or 10 posts that you're like directly talking about your product or service. Share industry insights, right? Because people are look as a subject matter expert, right? Not just here, buy my service, buy my product, buy my service, buy my product, right? So it should be, you're here to network and gain customers, but we want to make sure we're not just here, and I'll talk about do's and don'ts. You're not just here, shouting out to them and you're not participating in any way. This is B2B is all about relationship building, right? Just as if you walk up to me and, put your hand out to shake my hand, ask about me, what do you do? How can I help you? How can you help me? Right? It takes that time to build a relationship. So don't be afraid to do it, but don't just come in there and go and, buy me, nobody likes that, right? So we'll talk a little bit more about that as well. Let's see. So, okay. So, I don't know if I pronounced this right, Sujata. So when you send connection requests to a business, would they see your personal profile or your business profile? So again, going back, you start with your profile, and when you send connections, you're connecting to other people. So again, your profile is connecting to other profiles. Then within that, you can then go ask that person if they want to connect or follow your page as well. But you only people connect with people. They don't connect, you don't send a connection to a business page. They don't connect to your business page in that way. First, you connect with people, and then you can ask them to follow your business page as well. Hopefully that answers that question. I know can be just like on Facebook when you're friending other people, but then you invite them to see your business page if they want to see your page content. Let's see. So my career, where I'm still working, is how I started my business. What do you recommend to not cause conflict of interest in my background employment? So Kenya, if you were here earlier, I mentioned that it gets a little tricky if you're trying to live in 2 different worlds, because you can only have one profile on LinkedIn under your personal profile. You could have multiple pages, but again, if you could still have, like I have old jobs when I was actually working for other people on my LinkedIn profile, but I also say now I'm the owner of this company, so that's okay. But I'm only, I don't have another job and I have a business. So if you're trying to not have a conflict of interest, it gets a little tricky. You either have to be on one side or the other. Right, you can't have live a double life, so to speak, on LinkedIn, because they don't allow you to have a totally separate one. You could, like I said, fake it. I've seen people create some profiles or different names, but it does get confusing when you start seeing multiple profiles on there to the same person. So usually LinkedIn does not allow that. So I would say, pick one lane or the other. If you're still employed and you own a company, you have to figure out, should I just remove all the other, employment stuff and just focus on my company information? So everybody's gonna be a little bit different. So it's a general answer. Let's see. Is a company page necessary if I'm B2C resume writer, all of my connections? I would say yes, Claire. I would still have a business page. But again, as I mentioned earlier, I would say you can post on both, because you're going to interact with people in general, more so than on the business page, but you still do want to have that separate page with all of your business information on there. I would say still do it, not necessary, but I would still have a separate business page because it's all about the business content there. And then let's see, are hashtags still effective and needed? If not, yeah, definitely still hashtags are, because people might do searches under hashtags, just like they do with on the other platforms, and he's pulling relevant content together. So definitely still effective. But again, it's not like Link or Instagram, we're going to have like 30 hashtags. It's a different strategy than with LinkedIn, but you still do want to use some targeted hashtags on LinkedIn. And let's see what else here. Let's see, you guys had a lot of great questions. What is the best way to find targeted groups? Good question. So very easy. Just go into the search field up on LinkedIn and then make sure you have groups selected and just put in, like at a client's like real estate investors, or whatever the marketing groups, whatever the target is, and just type in keywords. You should be able to find those groups on there. Let's see. Okay, so when you connect to your personal, not your business. Correct. You connect to other people through your profile. So it's people-to-people connections. And then once you have your page, you can invite your connections to follow your business page. Okay, hopefully that makes sense now. I know it gets a little wacky. Let's see, there's an ideal number of hashtags used on a post. Not necessarily ideal. Again, don't use the 30. I don't think they have a maximum on here. But I would say under 10. You don't need to go too crazy. Have them, again, think about what's the topic of the post, who you're targeting for it potentially. Okay. Kind of what the subject, why are you posting it? So, for example, I'll use one, I'll do, Marketing Monday, a quote about marketing. I'll put small business owners and then hashtag marketing overwhelm, right? So I'm targeting small business owners, and I'm talking about marketing overwhelm, right? So, and I'm doing a marketing tip, so that's kind of the, feel of doing those three. Who are you targeting, what it's about, so hopefully that makes sense. But you don't have to be that specific, but you don't want to have to do everything out there on that. Let's see. Does it make a difference in engagement with a page versus a profile? Like I said, you're probably going to do more with your profile than you are your page. So it doesn't necessarily, engagement doesn't change. So it might be their engaging if they follow my page. They might be engaging with that post. Maybe they're engaging more with the one on my profile. More people are seeing it. Right. So it's a little tricky because, like I said, most of us are just starting a page and we don't have a lot of followers on it, and they're mostly on our profile or connection. That's why I always say you can post on both. Won't do any harm to post both, because not everybody's going to see both. Just like on Instagram and Facebook, right? We might not all of your followers see all of your posts. They might have missed some of them. So it's okay to post on both. Let's see what else here. I'm just going to keep on going, and I'll continue on here. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to stop there. I'm not going to ignore the questions there. I just want to continue on. A lot of great questions. Let's see. So one last one. My audience is bilingual. Should I post in both languages? Interesting one. I would say you could do a mix, or maybe they do the translation. I know on Twitter, they have the translation option. So maybe I would do short ones, have the first one, I don't know what language it is. Well, say Spanish, Spanish and English. So maybe have it, the top one in Spanish and then the translation right below it. Do them short so you don't have them super long. I don't know. I would check on that see if you put it in a language, will it automatically add that C translation little link and then translate it for you? Potentially. If not, if it doesn't do that, then you might want either do English first and then the second language if it is Spanish, or vice versa. So it might be a good idea to do that if you have both. If some don't speak English and they only speak Spanish, if that's the language, then I would do it that way. So best times to post. So a little bit different than the other platforms out there. Usually it's been with LinkedIn, generally first thing in the morning and then in the evening. So like when they first come to work and when they're about to leave work. But so some schools of thought say that, and then this one, could try it out and see. Now, the best times to post is when you're going to get the best engagement, right? Think about that golden hour, right? So LinkedIn is just like Instagram and Facebook have figured out their algorithms is when people are most engaged with your content. So interestingly enough, they even have Saturday, Sunday, 4 to 5 a.m., 6 a.m. This is your local time. So if it's like I'm in California and I post at 6 a.m., it's 9 o'clock East Coast. So some people, usually weekends have traditionally not been very good on LinkedIn because it's more B2B. Somebody in one of my LinkedIn classes said they get the most engagement on Sundays. So who knows? So try this out. Maybe try Mondays at 11, Thursdays at 2, see what the engagement's like with your post on that. I had just found this because usually I saw it was like, okay, 8 o'clock in the morning, and then 4 or 5 just before people leave work. They tend not to engage usually during the day because they're busy, but maybe on Wednesdays at lunch hour, Thursdays in the afternoon, Fridays, maybe just first thing in the morning because people might leave early on Fridays. They're not as engaged. They're distracted waiting for the weekend. Mondays might be 11 a.m. because people are just getting back to work, getting caught up, checking all their emails, and then maybe they'll go on LinkedIn and start poking around and see who's been doing what and who's been asking to connect and all that. So try this out, and see, post. You can schedule. You don't have to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Use a scheduling tool or LinkedIn. You can go on and schedule it rather than posting it right away. So again, make sure that you're try these out. It might be different. You might say, well, every day at 11 seems to work. This is just based on what LinkedIn shows is the best time to get people to engage with it. So again, this is going to be your local time. So Friday at 8 a.m., your local time. So it's going to be, they don't have a way to say post it up at 8 a.m. on everybody's time zone around the world, right? So if you post it at 8 a.m. Pacific time, it's going to be obviously 11 a.m. on the East Coast or 10 o'clock in Pakistan or whatever, wherever you're targeting. So how do you find leads on LinkedIn? I know everybody's burning question. Where do you find them? They're there, right? So what do we want to do to find them? So we want to keep the profile updated, make sure it's not something you did 10 years ago when you're looking for your job. Right, you want to make sure everything is updated, have a nice updated picture, your profile, your about information is all updated. So it looks like you're in business right now. Your company, if you have a company, should be the top job listed on there. Fill it all out. Fill out any job, any volunteer work you do. If you've been on any boards, any other types of positions you've had, you're members of different organizations, because people look for that. And those are points for people, I think Bill mentioned he was stalking my profile before the class. You might want to do business with them. There's a good example. What was that? What's that book? How to Win Friends and Influence People. This is an old book. I just actually started listening to it on Audible. And I remember what sticks out, one of the chapters I was listening to. And again, this is before digital and networking, but he said, anytime he was going for a sales call, he would find out information about that person. Maybe they're interested in golf or their son is a football player at Alabama University or whatever. Find out some tidbits. Probably easier now because we overshare on social media, but back in that day, it might be harder to dig a little information. Start that conversation out about them. People want to talk about themselves, and they want to know people are interested in them. He said the sweetest sound for anybody is the sound of hearing their own name. So making sure, acknowledging people with their name. All right. But same thing applies here, right? There's information that we share on LinkedIn. Hey, yes, you attended the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program. Oh, I see you went to USC, and then you have a point of conversation. So the more that you put about yourself, the more people can potentially engage and oh yeah, we have that in common. So make sure it's completely filled out. As far as adding connections, you can look at who viewed you. If you pay Business Premium or Navigator, you get to see more. I think now on the free version, it's limited to like the last 3 connections that looked at you. But if you do pay for premium, you'll get to see everybody who viewed you. You can look at former clients. You can look at connections of your first connection. Some people have that option open where you can click on their connections and it will show you who they're connected with. Might be they have similar connections that you are interest to you. So you can do that on some people. You can do specific searches for people or companies as well. And then you can follow current clients and prospects. You want to write recommendations and ask for them because you want to see that, but make sure they're authentic, right? Don't send me a message and go, hey, Patty, can you write me a recommendation? Unless I've done business with you or have worked with you, I'm not going to write recommendations, and I won't ask for them. I won't ask any of you, hey, can you guys, unless you wanted to say, oh, that was a great class, but I don't even ask for that. You want to write a recommendation, but again, make sure it's somebody you've done business with, you worked with, right? Participated. Don't do the fake recommendations request. Join groups. Someone just asked about that. You can join groups in your industry, but also industries you're trying to do business with, right? So if you're looking for real estate investors, join those groups. So be mindful about networking in those, promoting your product or service. Look at the rules of engagement for each group. Some might allow that, because it is business to business. Others might maybe have certain days you can promote yourself, or it's just about sharing information and insights, learn about what people are talking about, maybe get engaged in those conversations. So be mindful of group rules. And then use LinkedIn to celebrate the accomplishment of others, right? You can wish them happy birthday. You'll see on your notifications, hey, so-and-so started a new job, or they have a new position, or whatever they want to have to be congratulated. Make sure you're participating, and do that so they know that you're actually engaged in there, right? Not just posting up and running, right? So when you're doing searches, right, and this search here is focused on jobs, not necessarily person, so the screen's a little wrong, but you can type in mechanical engineer, right, and you're looking specifically, it should be on people rather than mechanical engineer jobs, but it would come up the same. Anybody who has a title mechanical engineer will come up. On Premium and Navigator, you do get some additional information, like you do get their experience level, revenue, size of company for filters. You don't get that with free version, but you can at least put in mechanical engineer on there, and then you can connect, right? You can either add a note to the invitation, and you can, if you have some specific thing like, hey, it was great meeting you at the conference. Oh, hey, Patty, I loved your score class and I want to connect, or something, oh, I see some, I get some, I like to connect with other marketing people, or I say, hey, I'd love to connect with people in the wine industry. So if you have some tidbit of connection, put a note in. You don't have to necessarily. And not everybody's going to look at that and go decide to connect or not. If you don't have a note and you're connecting with me, I might look at that, but I might look at like who you are and what you do. I generally connect with everybody. There's a very few that I won't connect with. If I feel it's like some, example, like I had a client that sold motorcycle racing gloves, and I would get people from other countries who do leather products or make those products. I have nothing to do with that. I don't even have that client anymore. I'm not going to pass on information about, so they maybe thought that was my business. I'm not looking for a motorcycle leather manufacturer, so that was, I'm like, yeah, I don't need to connect. There's no reason to connect there. But other than that, and then once you connect, you can send a little message like, thank you for connecting. Either way, whether you accept an invite or they accept yours, thank you for connecting. Hey, why don't we, do a virtual coffee so I can learn about how I can help you, start the conversation with how I can help you. Love to learn about what you do so I can help you with your business. Of course, it's going to be reciprocal, of course, but we want to start like, hey, let's set up a meeting so I can tell you all about what I do and how I can sell you a service. So you can still do it, but let's talk about, let's switch it. Let's learn about each other. Let's shake hands and have coffee and start building that relationship. So be very careful about how you connect people, right? So you can also, another way to search, don't know if anybody's tried this. It's called a Boolean search. So where you're taking two pieces of information and kind of putting them together. So if you can see in the upper left-hand corner, that drop down, I have quotes, environmental engineering, quote, and quote, owner. So I'm looking for owners of environmental engineering firms rather than, you know, maybe there's a marketing manager in environmental engineering for firms, human resources. You know, I specifically want owners. I'm tagging, I'm looking for the ones that tag themselves or call themselves owner and has environmental engineering in it. So some different ways when you think about Boolean searches, right? And everybody is going to call themselves, title themselves different. So this example here, this is Los Angeles Unified School District, second largest district in the country. I'm looking for English teachers, right? You can type out English teacher. Most people are just going to call themselves a teacher, I don't know, maybe instructor, but usually a teacher. And there's different ways that they might put Los Angeles Unified School District. They might have it totally spelled out, LA Unified School District, or we call it LAUSD here. So you have to kind of try different searches to get everybody, right? Law firm. Somebody might be a CEO of a law firm or a president or executive director. So you have to try different searches on there, different terms, different keyword terms for those types of searches. But these will get you, like I have winery owners, owner and winery, you know, so try those. If you're looking for, you want to narrow down the search. I'm not just looking for every single English teacher on LinkedIn, you know, in LA or California or whatever, and hitting all the school districts. I specifically only want English teachers at LA Unified, or the CEO or owner or president or whatever the title is at a law firm. I don't want all the junior partners and the HR people and the janitor and whoever else is at the law firm. Okay, sorry about the noise there. The landscaper's back below me. So hopefully that makes sense. Somebody's asking, what are the rules of sharing telephone or email address to connect? So I think you're asking, Beth, if in that message that, you know, the little message when they're connecting, if you can put your address and phone number in there, I think. You could, but generally at this point, you're just asking to connect. I think that's what you're asking. But it would be that, like, yes, I met you in a class, or hey, great to meet you, or we both went to the University of Alabama or whatever. I think I wouldn't put it necessarily in that. You could, but or I did one where for a client that started a website and it was free. It's free to join. It's a plant sharing website. And she wanted to go to LinkedIn to find master gardeners. And so we connected with master gardeners through her profile. And in the message we put, hey, would love you to check out our plant sharing website. And, you know, it's, like I said, free to join. And I put that in the connection message. And we did get a few people who followed the, or clicked on the link, track that, to check out the website. It's totally free for them, no charge. We wanted to get master gardeners involved because, you know, they'd be most likely to share and maybe share content and all that. So you could, I think that's what you're asking. You can also import email contacts and find them. Like, okay, we already have their email. Why do I need to connect? Well, this, again, building relationships. Some people might not want to just get your emails like, hey, let's talk about my business, and, you know, send your email. You connect on LinkedIn, see what they're doing on LinkedIn and post, be that subject matter expert. So you're kind of building on the relationship beyond just an email address, right? And then this is an interesting one. I found out about this one last year. It's connecting with lions, not the ones that roar at the zoo or out in the wild. Their lions are LinkedIn open networkers. So these are people who are basically like, you'll score on the first date with them, so to speak. You connect with them, they'll connect with you, guaranteed. They want to connect with everybody. So you can go into search, you know, that search button under people, and type in LION or L.I.O.N or open networker. They all do a little bit different. And then you can put that in your profile. If you want to be a lion, you can. Everybody can be lions on LinkedIn. You can put that after your name so that they know. So when it comes up in search, you're going to come up. Now, do you need to connect with all the lions? just to build it's not like we're building a follower base. We really want to connect to people that we can potentially benefit, right? We can collaborate in some way. They can buy my product or service, vice versa, whatever. So maybe you go filter through the Lions. Maybe I only need to connect with the senior software engineer or the mobile insurance advisor. I don't necessarily need to be connected to the professional sourcing consultant. So you can, be a little bit picky about the Lions if you want out there. You just never know who out there is a connection that could benefit you in some way. They always say at networking meetings, the person in the room might not be the person you do business with. It might be one person connected with them, away from them. So up to you if you want to connect with everybody and see what happens, Not a good point. Scott says, I feel like connecting with the Lions is just an open invitation to get spam. I haven't noticed that. I've done a few Lion connections. I know somebody who's in my industry, marketing industry locally that I know personally. But I haven't seen that to be the case. Yeah, that could potentially, you're right. And that's something to monitor if you're finding that the Lions are spamming you. And also too on the spam question or comment, we're really here to network, to do business with each other. So if it was on Instagram or Facebook, let's say Facebook or Instagram, and they friend you on Facebook, right? And you're thinking, oh, because this is going to be where we share what we ate for dinner and what we did on family vacation. I expect that, even though there are business pages and all that. But when people connect and want to be a friend, and then the first thing they do is send me a message going, hey, why don't you, let me tell you all about this special coffee drink I'm selling. They're like, hey, why don't you say, how are you? And, nice to meet you first. That's a little different than on LinkedIn. We don't want to say necessarily spam because you're doing the same thing, Scott. Somebody might think what you're doing is spam, meaning you're reaching out to potentially do business with them in some way. So we have to kind of reframe it with LinkedIn. If we think, oh, if I connect to this person, I send them a message, they're going to think I'm spamming them. Really, we're all trying to do business. Might not be business you're interested in. I don't mind if people send me messages and when they connect, because it might be a service or product I'm interested in. I don't have to go do the work. If someone goes, hey, I have this software that can help your business be more productive, I didn't have to go do the work to find it. Now, people I get all day, I get the messages, I won't call them spam. Some just don't apply to my business. I don't need full IT networking for my small little business here. I don't need to talk about, how to set up 401ks for my employees that I don't have. They don't know until, they reach out to me if I need that service or not. So we have to kind of, like I said, reframe that about spam, because they might consider you spam, and it's just you trying to connect and see if you want to do business together. So again, we want to use this as a pure networking opportunity, a place to have those networking opportunities. So don't think of it that way. Hopefully that makes sense. Long way of saying it, but I had somebody, and I'll finish this with this. I had somebody attend this class last year. It's one of my groups, and we were talking about, the spam conversation, and she said, well, I have in my profile, don't, I forgot what she said exactly, like basically don't bother me unless you're X, Y, and Z, or whatever she said. Basically she was shutting them down. And I said, okay, so let's just do this example. Let's just say you and I meet and we're at a mixer together, and you walk across the room and you're like, hey, how are you? And who are you? What do you do? When you start introducing yourself and tell them, hi, I'm Patty, Golden State Marketing. I do marketing. And so I ask her first, I go, hey, what do you do? Tell me about yourself. And she tells me about herself. And I would assume next I get to tell you about myself. But instead of me saying, hi, I'm Patty, she puts her hand up in my face and stops me from doing that. Now, hopefully nobody in this room or anywhere would be rude enough to do that, right? But it would be the same thing. You're just doing it digitally, which is a little easier to put the hand in the face, but that's what she was doing. You're basically saying, I get to tell you all about me and my service, but I won't let you do the same. That doesn't seem right, does it? Right? You're here to do the same thing. They could put your hand in your face and no, I don't want to hear from you unless you're X, Y, and Z. Right? So yes, you are going to get, contacts, but people want to try to do business. They might assume that you're maybe a potential business owner that that would do business with them or need their service. But until they reach out and go, hey, does she need full IT services or how to set up 401ks? I'll just say, no, not, and that's not nothing that I need at this point. So they don't keep trying. Some people just keep sending messages. But I said it, that's the purpose of this particular network. I would be more annoyed if you did that to me on Facebook or Instagram when you friended me or connected with me and started spamming my posts, right? So a little bit different. Let's see. It's all about the elevator pitch. Yes. Very targeted. Make sure, oops, my mouse is too sensitive there. So make sure you are sharing you could share both your LinkedIn profile and your page, up to you. In emails, this is social sharing. So you can have at that top there, this is where you say, hey, put this post or this email on LinkedIn, and you can have it connect to LinkedIn. We'll go to your profile. You can't do it with a page because it shares to your profile. And the bottom, social following, you can put your follow me on Facebook with your page or connect with me on LinkedIn. Either way, you can have it there, but make sure you're sharing it, put it in your signature as well. What you don't want to do, I've already mentioned a few of these, right? So we want to say, you give only because you expect to receive, right? You just out there like, hey, everybody tell me about myself, but I won't let you tell you about you, right? You don't give it all, right? You don't participate or engage. You're just there to kind of, the spamming I consider like you just show up just to say, here's me, here's me, here's me, but you're not participating, right? You wait until you have a need. You only show up if you want new clients or a new job, right? You forget where you are, right? This isn't Facebook and Instagram. Again, generally, you're not going to put what you ate for dinner and what your dog did or what your kids are doing, whatever. You don't follow industry leaders. So there's a lot of, whether it's your industry or big, leaders out there. Like I follow one I see a lot on my feed is Damon John. He's one of the sharks in Shark Tank. He does a lot of polls. He does a lot of content where he's engaging with people out there. So I'm like, he's not necessarily an industry leader for me, a little bit, let's say on the marketing sales side of things, but good to interact with people out there and find out what those industry people are doing, those industry leaders. You don't care, kind of follows in general, like you don't show up, your profile hasn't been updated, you're just not there, right? You ignore your team's network. If you have a team, check out who they're connected with, right? And when I say don't spam, network, but don't spam. So again, not that just, me, but you're not engaging and doing everything mentioned in 1 through 7, right? And should I pay for LinkedIn? A few of you have mentioned premium. There's also Sales Navigator Core. So you have 2 options. They're a little bit different on there. You get some of the things you get with Connect, with premium. One special thing you get with not the free version is called in-mails. So with premium, you get 15 per month. And what that means is I can send you a message without us being connected. Okay, so if I want to connect with you, but I don't want to wait for you to potentially connect, or maybe I tried and you didn't connect, I can send you an in-mail message and it will go right to you to get it. With Core, Navigator Core, you get 50 of those. You do get some additional information, some more filters, more company insights, salary, job, if you want job and applicant insights, more LinkedIn, access to LinkedIn learning courses. So definitely a lot more information you get than you would on the free version. On Navigator, again, 50 emails, you get to see and just on the premium as well. Let me go back. You do get to see who's viewed your profile, everybody who's viewed it, not just the couple of 3 and the rest are hidden. Okay. So you do get some advanced lead searches, again, access to the learning courses, but that 50 in-mails, if the core of your business is to work on LinkedIn, I know somebody who gets like 99% of her business from LinkedIn, she pays for Navigator, right? Because this is where she spends her time. She doesn't waste time on the free version. She wants that additional information that she's getting to, and maybe those 50 in-mails to get her business She helps companies sell their businesses. So this is where you would find them, not on Instagram, right? So it might be worthwhile. This is from LinkedIn. I just grabbed if you want to see a chart. Premium careers for job seekers, and you don't need to worry about that. So these premium business and sales navigator, you might need a more advanced version if you have more people, for example. But generally those premium business and navigator core, and try it for a month or two. You can do month to month, pay for it for a month and see, make sure you're using it, don't let it sit for the month and then, then you haven't used it, but try it out and see if that additional information is helpful to you or not, And then again, these are just charts. You'll get these slides. So should you automate your lead connection process? So as I alluded to earlier, LinkedIn focuses on one-on-one connections, right? You click connect, I accept the invitation or not, it's up to you. And we connect and learn about each other, right? Rather than ignore, right? We're supposed to actually, once we connect, do something, reach out in some way. But that's their belief. They don't believe in the automated process. Okay, so let me connect to 100 people at a time, and then you start sending out messages. That's okay. That's not their model. So there are third-party companies that you can connect with LinkedIn to do the automated. The example, the woman I just mentioned, who is a commercial, she helps businesses sell their businesses at some point, and most of her business is here. So she uses Navigator, and then she uses an automation tool. I think it was the LinkedIn Helper, and to nurture the lead. So basically, right, with a lead nurture, and the slides here are from a company called Connected. It's KENNECTED.org. There's also LinkedIn Helper. There's quite a few. If you Google LinkedIn automation software, you'll find a couple of these. But Connected, I use Connected. I tried them out for a month or so last year just to check them out. But it works. They all work kind of the same, right? You put in your Boolean search or your search to whoever you want to find. You bring that URL, so you're hunting, you're finding them. It won't automatically connect. You still have to invite them, but it will send the invites out. And then as soon as you connect with those, as soon as they accept the invitation, and there is a limitation on how many people you connect in a day. And I think 100 or so, 200, or what the number is now, but it will limit it. They won't try to connect to all, 5,000 on the search that you have. They will throttle it to be just the minimum amount allowed per day. So once they've connected, once they've accepted the invitation, then you're going to be engaging them. So you set up the sequences, right? You see them, you connect with somebody and you get the message pop up saying, hey, would like to connect with you. Are you interested in IT or whatever it is? Hey, let's set up a call. You can ignore them or not, but that's usually the automated process. Occasionally people might send hit the connection and just do it themselves manually. But if you do a search, I'm looking for LA Unified School District English teachers, right? And there's 10,000 of them. Am I going to sit there and try to connect one-on-one with 10,000 and then try to nurture them? Not all of them might connect. That's going to take a lot of time. You might do such a specific search. So I'm looking for environmental engineers, and they must be in the LA metro area. And, and then you narrow it down and there's only 100 of them. Well, it might be easy to do a manual connection, right? But if you are having a lot and you do a lot of your business here, you might want to set up an automation process. So you do the engaging, you decide what that engagement process is, and then you move on to the kind of nurture and close, right? Okay, hey, let's go ahead and set up that discovery call, or I'll give you a call, or whatever it is, set up that session, and then hopefully you close the deal. So for some of you, if your primary business is going to be found on LinkedIn, this might be something you want to add. And you might not even, when I talked to Connected, you didn't have to have LinkedIn Sales Navigator. You can do those Boolean searches, unless you wanted to have some more specific information, like those environmental engineering firms that have 100+ employees that make over $5 million. Then you would need to have a LinkedIn Sales Navigator to get that additional filtering information. So again, just depends on your business. There are some, different strategies depending on what your business is. Hopefully that makes sense. And then, so why should B2B companies care about social media in general, other than LinkedIn, right? Of course, every CEO, CIO, CFO, marketing manager, whatever the title is, they go home and at night and they turn into a consumer, right? We do go hang out on Facebook and Instagram and all of those, right? When people Google your company and you have no web presence, that could be a red flag. You want to make sure you do have a website. That's your front door to your business. And then you want to be present. People are going to look for you when they're looking for jobs. The talent might look up your company and see what your company culture is like. So going on Instagram, showing, what you do for your employees and how much your employees love your company and all the cool things that you do. Right? People are going to be looking for you. Investors might be looking for you, journalists to just do stories about you, other industry leaders. So it's good to be part of the story. You have to be out there, right, to be found, right? And then, CEOs can talk directly to their customers, right? So we all are connected to, everybody. I might not be able to have conversations with the president of the United States, but maybe the CEO, like Damon John, if I'm interested in talking to him and learning from him, I can, have sort of conversations with him, so it does make it easier for us to connect with our customers, right, on here. And then as far as content, right, and whether it's Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, we all need to create that content I mentioned. We need to post on a regular basis. So how do we get this all done, right? And I know it can be overwhelming. Anybody overwhelmed by the process of creating content, how to create it, how to plan, what do I post? I don't even know what I should post, right? A few people raise your hand. So this is why I developed this calendar that I have. I'm going to show you. Some of you might already have seen it in other classes, but generally I find that most business owners I've taught to are overwhelmed by this part. Like, I don't know what to post. I don't know what to send via email. All right. I'm like, it's Tuesday. What should I post? I just posted yesterday about my service. Now I don't want to do another promotional post, but I should post. So it's really, I find, if you have to do it all yourself, you can't hire somebody to do your marketing for you. Getting the process streamlined will help take away some of that overwhelm of it. Right? You still have to do some of the work if you're doing it yourself, got to do the creation, the posting, right? Engaging. But if you can streamline that process, get ahead of it, should take some of that overwhelm away. Okay. So I always say, if you're going to do it yourself, there, generally it's gonna be the planning, right? The calendaring, the planning, then the creation, right? You're gonna go in Canva, whatever tool you're using to create graphics, do some video content, whatever you're doing, go find other content to repost and share. And then you're going to schedule it in easy, hopefully an easy way. And I think I have it in here, how to post it as well. But streamline is block your time in your calendar. Make this part of your monthly routine, right? If you're going to do it yourself, that once a month planning, usually. So how I work with my own business is I work ahead. So when I'm working with a private client, depending on where we are in the year, right, we'll plan out as much as we can for the year. Generally every October, my new calendar comes out. So if you stay on my list and you'll get this 2023, but if you want 2024 and beyond, stay on my mailing list. And I mail that out October, because generally when I first developed this calendar, I set it up for my clients and it was our way to plan for the next year. I would print it out, the Microsoft Word template calendar. And just so we had something in front of us during our planning session, we'd scribble on it and make notes. What are we going to do for next year? What do we need to repeat? What is new? What do we already know that's new? And then I would, fill it out online, right? So now it's an Excel spreadsheet. Keep it, or it's actually Google Sheets now. Keep it super simple. There are calendar tools out there. You can use whatever you want that works. I keep it simple for my clients and myself just to have a spreadsheet view of it, but whatever works, we work ahead. So before December even hits, we already did our planning session for the coming year, right? Get ahead of the game. If you're Q4 driven, if you do holiday sales, you should have that wrapped up before September hits. On a month-to-month basis, we're always a month ahead in our content. Like what is today, 21st of June? I don't even know what's posting for my clients or myself, because I already posted everything the first of the month for the entire month, right? We're already working on the July content, getting it, sending it out for a pre-approval if our clients want it approved. And by the end of June, we'll post all of July's content up. And anything randomly, spontaneously comes up, we can add to it. But generally, all of the content's already scheduled out, and I don't even have to think about what do I need to post today, because it's already been posted and it's already scheduled out. So planning as far ahead as you can. Take some time to get ahead. Like, it's not going to happen overnight to get ahead, but plan a week ahead, plan 2 weeks ahead. Then, the schedule is by the 15th of the month. So 15th, 20th, you have the rest of the next month planned, because now you're not thinking about the previous month. So generally, my planning time month to month might be, and I have multiple clients. So one, just if it was just you, might be less than an hour of my time to add in the content on the calendar, figure out what we're going to post. That's the planning. The creation time will take longer, and that's going to be different for everybody. If you're going to do it yourself, going on Canva or finding your video content, whatever you need to do, planning time. And then the scheduling time for one brand, so your own brand, I would say once you, depending on how fast you are and you're using a scheduling tool, rather than going to Facebook and Instagram and over to LinkedIn and over to Twitter, using a scheduling tool that you can do it all at once is better, faster. And that might take an hour of my time to post the entire month, but put that on the schedule and plan ahead, right? Plan that ahead so that you're not scrambling, right? And then as far as the scheduling tool, I'll show you the one that I use. So I'll skip this part. I already talked through this part, planning ahead. So, and as far as the scheduling tool, I thought I had it on here. I use one called Post Planner. There's Later, there's Buffer, there's Hootsuite. There's a ton of them out there. I like Post Planner, and I used to use Later and some other ones, but I went back to Post Planner because I can multi-post. They even have a bulk upload feature I just found out about, so I'm going to figure that out soon. But I can say, do Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook, because I'll do the same posts. So I can post them all at once. I can tweak them because they'll be a little bit different hashtags, different links, all that stuff. And then I can evergreen content on there. So if I just want stuff to repeat, and also they have a lot of curated content, which is helpful. So if I'm looking for marketing articles, or articles about artificial intelligence, they curate stuff and you can create content streams to pull from. So if I want to, have an article about AI, I can go onto their curated content and repost it, if I want to do that, to add to my posting, right? So this is one of the calendar pages. I'll walk through each page. You'll get the entire calendar with all the other assets. It's all about creating content and you can use this calendar as well for email marketing, as well, blogging. You can put everything on here that you do. It's all about, again, getting that engagement and reach out there. So the more content you put out there, the better, as much as you can. So you'll have some hashtag day ideas. You can use these on B2C and B2B, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, etc. I use Marketing Monday, Tip Tuesday, I think I use Thursday Thoughts. Some might be more related to business to consumer, but Motivation Monday, Wellness Wednesday. Again, some of these might be more B2C than B2B, but a lot of them out there for potential use. I'll show you that on the calendar. You'll have some content ideas. Again, some of these may be more B2C than B2B, but under the Be the Expert category, right? That's where LinkedIn, industry articles, answer FAQs, have experts, how-to videos, maybe on your product or service, money or time-saving tips might be related to the business more so. You could do, again, personal, depends on your business if you want to do personal, but for Facebook, Instagram, definitely. Maybe timely topics, industry news, right? This is, again, where people are coming for industry insights. Uplifting, inspirational quotes. You could do business related, inspirational quotes about anything to do with business. People love those. I found some for transportation and logistics. Go to ChatGPT, create, 20 inspirational quotes about, real estate investing. I don't know if they'll find those, but about real estate, and you can create posts for those. So good content. People like to interact with those as well. So there's some content ideas. There's also some video content ideas. Again, some might not apply to LinkedIn, but might apply to the other platforms like flash sales and things like that. But again, kind of same as your static content. And then holidays, right? And I put quotes in holidays. So there's a website called nationaldaycalendar.com that I pulled these from, and they have all these kind of different fun holidays you can add. So in addition to the traditional Christmas, New Year's, all that, there might be some you can add in that relate to your business or would help get engagement. Again, some of these might be more B2C, but you can see here, National Logistics Day, because I have a transportation logistics client. It's actually coming up. If you want to have a barbecue on, I think it's June 28th, if I remember. National Logistics Day is coming up. I think June 22nd. So there are some directly related to her business, but we might also use National Siblings Day, because again, the one I mentioned is the CEO of a transportation company. Her sister works for the company. So we put pictures of her and her sister working together. National Bring Your Pet to Work Day, because the dispatcher has a Chihuahua and he had a picture of the Chihuahua next to the dispatch desk. So you can be kind of, that company culture kind of stuff there. In that case, it is somewhat personal, but business, right? So find a lot of weird holidays here, but again, to add the engagement, so we do post about National Barcode Day. I think that one's coming up this week as well. And relate it back to the business, right? That barcodes are so important for our business. They're the key to moving packages and goods and services quickly through the system. Barcodes are an unsung hero of logistics, right? So you can have fun with those as well. So when it comes to the calendar, I'm going to show you the B2B version. Well, let me see. Yeah, so this is B2B version here. They work the same. If you're somebody's B2C, let me kind of go backwards. I actually show the same. It's the same. So it's color coded, as you can see here. You use holidays, whether it's traditional or the kind of the fun ones. Email campaigns in orange, green are events, baby blue are blog posts, and dark blue are social media posts. So let me show you because I have the direct to consumer filled out a little bit more. So talking about social media, generally you're going to have 2 lines of blue for every post out there. And so the top line of blue is going to be, what type of post is it? Is it a hashtag day? Or am I asking a question? Is it an inspirational quote? Whatever it is in general, so you kind of know category wise what it is. The second line of blue is going to be, what specifically are you posting about? And this is for both planning and archive purposes. So when you're in the planning stage or creating stage, that, okay, I need to, for National Spaghetti Day, I need to pull a picture of the spaghetti and a bottle of the Kickoff wine. This is a winery, and then they have a varietal or a blend called Kickoff. On Foodie Friday, I know I need to pull the butternut squash soup picture and the bottle of Viognier. So again, I'm being very specific. When I'm asking the question, I put, what is your favorite white wine and food pairing? So I know on the graphic, I have to put the question and in the caption, and then I know I already did that question when I look back to plan ahead, right? So you want to be very specific on, on your social media posts here. When it comes to email, I'll talk about that as well, because hopefully you guys are all doing email. Works a little bit differently, work a little backwards. So in this case, you're like, what's going on this month, right? We have an event, we have a case sale, and we have a blog post, and I think that's it. Yeah. So we have 3 kind of different things going on. And with the event, right, it's the 27th through the 29th is the art festival. So the very last post we're going to do is the day before. Okay, the final time, RSVP, register now. And then working backwards, we'd send out an email every week, about 6 to 8 weeks back. You want to give people a chance to, attend and get ready to attend. For the promotion like the case sale, working backwards, the very last day is going to be the last day of the month. And then every week up through the very first one on January 3rd. So again, usually a month. This one's a little different because it's just 1 month, but it usually would go a month back in for promotions, right? The blog, we post the blog on our website, we send out the email, we do the social media post on the same day, all done. So you can see here, as you plan out your content, right? Now, you have stuff to promote, on social media, you have emails to send out, blog articles, and it works the same way for B2B, right? Same color coding. You're going to do all the same things. Maybe I'm going to use different holidays. I might not put National Spaghetti Day on for B2B. I have National Stress Awareness Day. I'll do an article on stress relief tips for entrepreneurs. National Philanthropy Day. I'll ask, how do you give back as a company? I promote my classes or my events, right? So I'll do emails for those. I might do social media posts for those. So all works the same way for B2B or B2C for calendar purposes, right? Let's see. How long in advance are you posting these holidays? For example, is Mother's Day posting? Yeah, so the holiday is generally going to post on that holiday. So if it's Mother's Day, you're going to do a Mother's Day post on that day. If it's National Stress Awareness Day, I'm posting on that November 2nd. So it's not, unless you're doing a promotion, like you're selling a product for mothers, or for women who are mothers, and you want to promote it, then you would do it in advance, maybe do a couple of times. We're just talking on the actual holiday. So on whatever is June 22nd, when it's National Barcode Day, I'm posting on June 22nd. That's your question. It's good question. But you're planning them out ahead, right? You're planning them out ahead, so so again, works exactly the same way. The last page I have, this is a newer page. This is what's called the prep page. It's officially called the posts page, but I call it the prep page. So this is where you can line up all of your posts before you schedule them out. You can use this page. I have clients that want to pre-approve the content. That's kind of why we had set this page up originally. But I set this page up for everybody, even my own, so we can see all of the graphics in one place, all the captions, hashtags, the link, if we're going to include a link. And when I'm ready to post up for the client or for myself, I have this page open on Google Sheets next to the post planner. And all I have to do is, spend about an hour, and I just go one by one, and I go copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, upload image, schedule it, move on to the next one. And then the next one. You can go through the entire month pretty quickly. I'm getting pretty fast at it. Again, I know Post Planner has a new bulk upload feature that I have to learn, so I can upload it. It might only take 20 minutes of my time. But you can, if you need to have approval, maybe you have somebody else doing it, you can set this up and you can edit. If you have any edit comments, you can mark it as approved, and I mark it as published. So again, it might seem like an extra step, but getting it all organized in one place, you can see the graphic, and you can create the caption, right? Figure out your hashtags, and then it's all ready to go in one place. So, this, again, brand new page as of this year. So definitely utilize that page. And then again, once you get it all organized and coordinate it, it's be easier to create it and get it, get synced up with all of your other email, social, blogging, whatever it is. Once you have it all out on paper, and use whatever calendar you want. If you don't like mine, use something else, that's fine, but get something in place. And then you'll see, once you start lining it up, you have content to post. It's other than, here's all about me and my service and product, right? Think about with LinkedIn, maybe you think ahead, like you're going to do some polls on specific products, or topics, other not products. So add those into the calendar, like poll, asking, like, do you use artificial intelligence in your business? Whatever applies to you in your business. Direct those polls to what you do, right? So I have a client, an advising client, and he does company culture. I don't know if he's in Jesper, you in the room by chance? I don't know if he's here or not. Sometimes he attends these classes. So he does company culture for businesses. And so he's primarily looking LinkedIn. And he did something clever. We're kind of refining it now, but he created a short survey, not a poll, but a survey that he privately sent to some of his connections. And it was asking questions about company culture in their company. Are they having issues with finding employees or keeping employees? What do they do? What do they think about company culture? Kind of a little bit more generic at the beginning. We're kind of refining them. And he sent it out to about 15, 20 connections at first. They were kind of the warmer connections, people that maybe we didn't maybe know them exactly, but like somebody who went to the same fraternity, somebody he used to work with who knew somebody. It's a little bit warmer. And he did get responses back. And then I said, now send it to some colder connections, people that you connected with, thought you can do business, but you really didn't know them. And he got back out of 20, I think he got, I don't know, got a good response, 12 or 13 of them, most of them. And then I said, okay, now what'd you do with them? How they responded? And he hadn't reached back out. So now we're working on refining the questions to hit pain points that he can help with. So not just, hey, what do you think about company culture? Are you having issues finding, and it's in a positive way, having issues finding and keeping employees? What do you think would keep your employees happy? It's all about, right, when you're reaching out to people, business CEOs, business owners want to know, how can you make me money? How can you save me time? How can you save me money? So how do you direct the conversation to one of those, right? And with company culture, you could say, well, you're going to spend money on hiring me to help you with the company culture, but how can I save you money by not employees are not coming into work because they're not happy, and then they quit because they're not happy, and then you have to spend money to hire new people and train them, right? Or lose business because they don't happen to be working there. So when it all comes down to that, any of you, when you're dealing with B2B, it's going to be the same conversation, right? How can you make them money, save them time? Right? If you don't give them that, don't show them that, even though I'm going to charge you for what I do, in the long run, it's going to save you money or make you money, right? So just want to share that story. So next steps for your business, right? What do you need to do to have a good LinkedIn strategy, right? Plan it. What do you need to do to set up your business page? What could happen if you get more involved on LinkedIn for your business? Should you be on LinkedIn? Is this primarily where your customers are? Should you be spending it here rather than worrying about an Instagram? Example, advising client that called, she's a officiant, a wedding officiant. Sure, she could go on Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook and talk about it. It's gonna be more general, unless she does ads where she can pinpoint, people who are getting newly engaged on Facebook, and then, where they're located, because obviously she has to be close by. But if I said, have you gone to LinkedIn to target event planners or wedding planners that would hire you? Sometimes the bride and groom will hire you directly, but a lot of times the event planner will find them. Have you gone out and reached out to them? No, I've been spending time on Instagram, which hadn't yielded her very much. So again, really another example, this was a live example years ago. I was in a mastermind group, small, 4 or 5 of us in the group. And one of the ladies in the group was, or she still is, a speaking coach. So if she wanted, say you had an employee had to go out and do speeches, they're not comfortable, she can train you how to be comfortable speaking. So most of her business was going to be B2B. And she told us that she had spent like $10,000 on Facebook ads. And so we're shaking our heads because that didn't work very well. We go, well, what are you doing on LinkedIn? Oh, I'm not really doing anything there. We're like, after I bang my head on the wall and have a little dent, I'm like, she would have just spent that $10,000 on LinkedIn. She didn't have to spend any money on it. She could have just gone and connected with businesses that might have people who are looking for speaking, coaching, so totally in the wrong place there. So making sure you know exactly who your customers are and how to find them and how to nurture them on LinkedIn. Very important. So have that plan in place. So if you want to talk to me, you're all welcome to schedule a strategy call. Go to callwithpatty.com or scan that QR code. Can talk to you about your LinkedIn strategy or anything you want to talk about with your business. I'm going to answer some questions before I pass it back to the gentleman from the SCORE. Let me see here. I'm going to go through the questions. I'm going to go upside down here. Let's see. Okay, so someone asked about the content. You'll all get the content calendar, Priscilla, with all the assets. So we'll take care of that for you so you get it. And let's see, instead of using Word or Google, is it more efficient to use a calendar to schedule your time? So yeah, I'm not sure, Claire, what the question is. So the calendar is a Google Sheets document. But I would use your personal calendar. Like I use Apple Calendar to schedule my time, but I don't use it to schedule all the posts. Like people say, why don't you just use Google Calendar? Because Google Calendar is really set up for appointments, not for content. But there are online content. Canva has a content planner calendar that you could use potentially. So, I'm not sure if it's answering the direct question or not, but use a content planner for content and you're scheduling your time on a scheduling calendar. That makes sense. Let's see. How should we prepare for the strategy call to make the most? Really, you'll answer some questions when you fill out the calendar. You'll give me information about who you are, what you're doing, what your marketing's about. So that's really the prep that you're going to do is when you fill out that calendar. Good question though. Thank you. Let's see. Can you recommend using Duck Soup lead generation tool to make connections? I'm not familiar with Duck Soup lead generation tool. So yeah, I can't answer that question. Sorry. I've heard of Duck Soup. I'm not familiar with their tools. Let's see. Is there a way to put videos on your personal page or on a company page? You can put video content on your page or your profile as well. So you can do video posts if that, and I believe there's a place on your page that you can put video content that's not a post, but I would go into your business page and look, like maybe you have like a sales video that you want to have static in there. I think you can put that in there as well. I've only done it through posts. Let's see. Can you create a poll on LinkedIn? Yes, they do have, when you go on there and you create a post, one of the options at the bottom is poll. And then you can have as many questions as you want, any length of time if you want it to expire. I think it's like preset 3 days, week, or longer. And yeah, so that's, you don't have to use a third-party tool for that. Very effective because it gets people just to click, and I would drive the questions, the survey, the poll questions to what you do, how you can tie it back to what you do, or solving pain points, things like that. Make it productive polls. Let's see. Can you explain more about followers and connections? I have both, but I'm not sure if people are seeing one over the other or if it's their choice. So if they're your profile connections, and then they happen to also, you invited them to connect or follow you on your on your page, business page, they could potentially see both on their feed. So the profile, one doesn't come up against the other. So it might show the profile one first, but then the business page. But again, only if they follow you. If it's a profile connection, they don't follow your page, are only going to see your profile post. So that's why I do both, because I might have 5 or I don't know what the number is now, 5,000 connections, but I only have a couple hundred people following my page at this time. So hopefully that makes sense. It's okay to do both. So we don't have premium. What is the limit of who you can connect with? There's no maximum number, but I was talking about on a daily basis. I believe it's the same whether it's free or premium. There's only, I think, a couple hundred or 100, but they'll let you know, like that's the limit for the day, for the current number is. But I think it's the same. They don't want you overloading on it. And I think that's for spamming in case somebody sets up and they're like, hey, I'm going to connect to 3,000 today. They want to make sure that, it's legit. So let's see. If you could only give 3 suggestions for most effective results on LinkedIn, what would those be? Good question, Jose. I would say definitely posting, being active on it. I know as founder and CEO of a company, you might not have as much time to do it, but if you can, because if you're the head of the company, and it might be a smaller or larger company, maybe you have an employee. I manage LinkedIn for some clients. I go into their profile. I do the following invites for them. Some do it themselves. I might post for them, directly for it because they want it to go from their profile. So I've done that myself, but I would say that would be definitely one, is being very active and posting. Engage in find those groups that might be the industry groups if you're looking specifically for people, like real estate investors. I just keep mentioning that one because we just did that with one of my coaching clients, and go and actively look in those groups. If this is where your target audience is, really it's like number 1, spend time here, number 2, spend time here, number 3, spend time here. Right. Really look at nurturing those leads, posting content up there to engage them, and then making those connections, and then actually doing something with them. Go back to them and go, hey, I would like to speak, or hey, are you interested in this? Really not just connecting to thousands of people and then having no conversations at all. So hopefully that distilled the whole webinar down into that one question. Let's see, hi Jackie, when you join a group, do you join as your biz or personal or both, and groups see your posts? So generally you're joining groups as a person. You can connect groups onto your page, but you can't post as a page. You have to post personally, right? People are connecting to people. And let's see, got a lot of great questions. There's ideal number. I think I already answered that. Yep, that one I already answered about the hashtags. Let's see, where on the profile page so Connie, if you're here, the hashtags go on your posts, not on your page. You could put in your, I usually have hashtag Golden State Marketing, as a hashtag. You could put that in your profile if you want, but generally each post that you have, you're going to have hashtags, like you saw on that page where the social insider, that was on each post. So just save those hashtags. What I do, like you saw on my prep page, you saw that box that has hashtags. So if they're always going to be the same, you can just copy paste them down that one column. So this way, when you're scheduling them, you can just go to, here's a caption, here's a hashtag, here's a link if you're using a link, and it's all there for every post that you do. So that's where you're doing it. Let's see, where are the best place on LinkedIn? Hi Jackie, to post the link for a broadcast, to post a link for a podcast I participate in that talks about my business. I would post it on, do a post for it. I guess you could put it on your page, but generally you're going to want to do a post saying, hey, I participated in this podcast, check it out, here's the link, and it would be on that specific post. If you have a page, you should be able to save the content there as well. If you wanted to save it there, or just have it link to put it up on your page. I don't know if you could put it on, like I've done some blog interviews and I have them on my blog page, or podcast, I should say. And I put them on my blog page as a blog, like here's a link to, a podcast that I interviewed on. I think I answered that for you. Let me know if I didn't. Let's see what else. Is it better to post a content via in article or on the post? Trying to think if I understand that question. Post a content via article. So I don't know. I would, if you're reposting an article or posting like a link to an article, like say I found an article on entrepreneur.com about AI I thought was interesting. I would just put in the caption, hey, great article about AI and for business. Check this out. Here's the link. And it will actually populate in there. I don't know if I'm answering that question or not. But I wouldn't put the entire article in the post. I would just link to it, if that makes sense. I don't know if I answered that question correctly. Let's see what else. Let's see. When I create a post or upload an article, who sees? Oh, wait, Claire already answered that question. Your connections. Let's see. Okay, we got that. You're welcome. Let's see. LinkedIn limits characters on posts, but it could be longer in the article feature. Yeah, I would say again, you don't want them too long. I mean, you can make a longer one, but I wouldn't put an entire article in the actual post itself. I would link it and I would put it on your website. You can, like sort of on the blog, you can link to it as long as you're not taking it as your own, but you can put the, great, have a page with great articles, industry articles, and have it link back so they're on your page, and you're always trying to, depending on what you're doing, you're trying to drive traffic, people come see your page, link the short blog article and say, come read the rest here. If they're really interested in the article, they'll go click through and read it, and they might trip over your page about your services too, right? It's always about getting them over to your business page, right? Let's see, any other questions? Yes, we'll be sending out the slides and the recording and everything. Let's see. I think, is that it? Do we have any other questions? Oh, and somebody said LinkedIn had profile videos, but they're phasing that out end of June. Thank you for that. Didn't know that. That's interesting. Maybe too many people were doing video. I think that's it. Any other questions? Put them in Q&A and chat. And if not, we can end it here. And we'll Bill, just a note to both of you. We'll go ahead and you can save the chat if you want, but we can include the chat file. So, because I know a lot of you did connect, put your LinkedIn, your emails, all of that in there so y'all can connect later. One last chance, put in your LinkedIn profile if you want people to connect with you. And we'll save that chat for you. And I think that's it. So, guys, you want to take it back, and you're welcome.
Sure. So once again, great presentation. Once again, Patty, can't say thank you enough. There's such a wealth of information in these 2 hours. Yes, you will get, you'll be followed up. You'll be able to get to re-watch this video, break it down into little parts of it so that you, instead of trying to get everything at once, one of the things Patty mentioned is plan things. So re-watch this webinar, watch them in little bits and pieces so you can actually get stuff done. For many of you who aren't familiar with LinkedIn, I know that now you know a lot more about it. But the whole thing is you have to start using it. You can, of course, reach out to Patty. Again, the video will be done afterwards. As far as SCORE, we offer always free mentoring. So if you're thinking of starting a business, growing a business, or if you're just stuck, it's great to have an experienced business leader. Many of us are former business owners or business leaders, and who are volunteering to help you at different stages of your business. So whether you're here in Monmouth County, New Jersey, or if you're anywhere, if you're California, Chicago, we have mentors ready to help you along the way. And as far as Patty, if you've liked today's presentation, mark it on your calendar because July 19th, Patty's going to be back. And this time she's going to be doing social media, do it yourself. But since things are constantly changing and evolving, she's going to add a little bit of chat GPT. So rather than hearing about this thing that we don't really know about, it's always great to hear from an expert that could actually show you those tips of how to utilize it. So write it down on your calendar, July 19th. You'll get a notice in advance. Register as soon as you get the notice, and we'll send you reminders. But again, I want to thank Patty today. I want to thank Matt at the bottom of our team is Larry Murphy. He did all the technical stuff behind the scenes to make this work. Larry's also a mentor. But thank you again for today. And go to our website, score.org/Monmouth, where you can find your own mentor to help you with your business. Once again, thanks so much.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
Bye, Patty.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.